But anyway, let's move on. Let's talk about Chester Bennington. So we already know, look, we already spoke a lot about all the stuff that was going on. So to get y'all up to speed, I'll fill you in. So we already know, um, Linkin Park came out of the woodwork and revealed that they are reuniting and have chosen someone by the name of Emily Armstrong. They did a live set, like I think it was like an hour and some change. Then they did an interview with Zane Lowe. I didn't watch the interview with Zane Lowe, but apparently Chester's son did. So we're going to go and break down what he said in a second. But it was like they did the interview. I watched the live first because I was like, I wanted to see what they were gonna give. I watched the performance. I thought it was all right. I mean, regardless of her being there, like I had no problem with them picking a female a female singer. First of all, I was like, that's the best direction that y'all should go, especially because if it's a girl, then they won't be as hard on her, I think, if they would have picked a new male singer, because how does a male singer going to be able to have an opportunity to find their way in this band and kind of bring their own thing and their own sense of sensibility to performing the old hits as well as their newest stuff that's coming out on the album in November called From Zero. So they came out with all that. Then I thought it was a little weird that, okay, so now y'all did this little live performance and then y'all go, next surprise, we have a world tour that we're kicking off tomorrow, by the way. Um, what is it, like a 6-date world tour that they're doing? Kicking on tomorrow. I believe the first show is in LA. And we'll see how all that does. I don't even know if the tickets sold out or whatever the case is. They probably had to take a huge element. Because I'm like, how do you just all of a sudden announce within a week that you're coming out with a tour and then a lot of people going to just have to buy tickets to show up to it? And you already know what Ticketmaster gives in regards to these prices. Which I'll be doing the most with the overpricing and all that other stuff. So that happened. And then, everybody was feeling a way about it. They didn't know how they were feeling about this girl being a part of it and all this other stuff. Then we had um, Cedric Bixler Zavala from the Mars Volta, who came out and threw a little shade at Emily Armstrong and revealed that she is a Scientologist and how she was out there windmilling hard for Danny Masterson and intimidating one of the Jane Does. She showed up in the mask. They showed up as a group as a way to intimidate this girl who's going to testify against Danny Masterson. And then I did a deep dive because I was like, bitch, Danny Masterson's wife, Bijou Phillips, that bitch ain't no damn innocent in this either. She's just as vile as he is. Because I did a little digging, and apparently Miss Bijou was a nightmare to work with on movie sets. What the hell? Daniel Franzese, who y'all probably remember from Mean Girls, they did a movie together called Bully, which was Brad Renfro was in that. God rest his soul. I was a fan of Brad Renfro, but apparently, he died of similar situations like Chester Bennington. Well, I think he had an OD. He didn't commit suicide, but he OD'd on drugs. I think he was a heroin addict, and I also believe that he was that same as a kid as well, because that boy had a lot of demons in him too. I can't prove it, but I just feel like there was some things that happened to him, especially being up under Bryan Singer. But anyway, so she did a movie called Bully. He came out and said, Daniel Franzese came out and said that she harassed him, physically assaulted him, and called him gay slurs because, like I mentioned prior, Scientologists are extremely homophobic. They don't like gay people. But I don't know how to. Girl, Don Travolta's a damn Scientologist, but he a big old queen his damn self. So you got a lot of self-hating faggots in the church, but I guess they don't care as long as you giving them your damn money. So he went. So basically, there's that. And then Heather Matarazzo, who y'all remember from the Wiener Dog from Welcome to the Dollhouse and a bunch of other films, she was in a movie with Bijou called Hostel 2. She also revealed that she was assaulted she's also openly gay as well. Well, now she is. I don't think she was in the beginning of her career. But, she said that she was physically assaulted by Bijou, was strangled for 20 seconds, thrown up against a wall, and she was, verbal slurs, all kinds of other stuff. Even the director of Bully said she's a nightmare to work with. And, there's been a lot of things that's been regarding her. So she is no innocent in this either. So with her all of a sudden trying to distance herself away from Danny Masterson and all this stuff, I give her the side eye and all of that. So there's that. And and so then Cedric came out, his wife came out, they said some stuff. But then also there was another post that came up about 2 days ago where he said the following. Now I want to follow that up and then we'll get into all the other stuff because all of this is layered and it'll all make sense. So yeah, Cedric posted this. He said, if you're not gonna, because she came out and she gave an apology, but she didn't really give an apology. First of all, she ain't mentioned Daniel's. She didn't she did not mention, it's like I can't even talk today. She didn't mention Danny Masterson's name. She didn't acknowledge the victims. I truly believe that her apology was something that you would a typical Scientologist would give as to make it seem like you're not saying anything negative against the church because she is well doctrinated within that church. But it seemed like she can come and go as she pleases. So he posted the following 2 days ago after, she gave her apology. He said, if you're not going to speak out against the human and child trafficking cult in which you are a part of and in which you enable by remaining silent on the crimes you know about when you have no right to fill the shoes of Chester Bennington, a true advocate, I don't give a fuck that you are very close to a serial rapist. I don't give a fuck that you lied in your apology Instagram story. I do care that you participated after being asked in the cruel intimidation of Jane Doe #1 with your cult pals at court. I do care that you didn't once mention that you are a member of a child and human trafficking cult that covers up the abuses and rapes of children and adults. I do care that your parents work for OSA, the Office of Special Affairs of the Cult of Scientology, which have been ordering attacks on me and my family, which includes murdering my dogs in the most inhumane and evil ways. These people are disgusting. I do care that they have been attacking and harassing my fellow sister survivors. You don't speak out against Scientology, not because you're terrified of them. You don't speak out because you are one of them. Shame on Linkin Park. Fuck you. And damn, he went in. And I had to read that with my whole chest. I wasn't coming up in here and editing. No, we need to feel what he was feeling. And definitely, I'm starting to get that way. I'm like, yeah, fuck you, Linkin Park. Because we're going to do this. And here's the proof of her hanging out with all of these people. So people sit up in here and is like, well, can you prove that Emily is a Scientologist? The proof is in the pudding. If y'all actually did your homework and Google schmoogle, looked up things, watched Scientology videos of ex-Scientologists, as they call them. Damn, I forgot what what is the term? I forgot what the term is when they call people who are former Scientologists. But they said a message from my wife above, a message from me, Emily. Did you know that your friend Chris Wadhams and Danny would drive by one of the Jane Does very slowly after a fucked up day of cross examinations and follow her in her car, staring at her, trying to intimidate her? I do. Did you know that? Oh, I think it's suppressive persons. I think is what they call it. Came to me in my head as I was reading this. I think they call people who are former Scientology suppressive persons or something or another. But anyway, so did you know that Alana Masterson would hide in the bathrooms after one of the Jane Does had a massive panic attack on the stand and proceed to harass her in the bathroom, calling her a liar? What, you didn't hear about that? Did your parents shield you from that? Your OSA parents? Or were you cool with that? Does your church call that the fair game policy? Weren't you just hanging out with Nasal Queef herself? Oh, bitch. He calls her Bijou Phillips Nasal Queef. Oh yeah, her voice is irritating. That's like grating, that's like nails on a chalkboard. Her voice is annoying. So I do find that funny. You call her Nasal Queef. It's like, were you just hanging out with Nasal Queef herself just a couple days ago? And I think if we go back to this, it's showing the people that she's hanging out with. But anyway, so it says, oh wait, she's okay now because she divorced Danny. She sure has a grand old time reading my wife's police report in a mocking post. Remember how she screamed when they took Danny away? I bathe in the moment every single fucking day. Be careful, homegirl. That Phillips curse is contagious. Just read Mackenzie Phillips' book. You should also read up on that fucking dingbat, Bijou's past behavior. That is, of course, if the church allows you to read about her. They do have a policy about reading anything critical of the church and its members. Your church also has a bad snitching culture where you write knowledge reports on fellow members who are not following the teachings of L. Ron Hubbard. Just like the East German Stasi imposed on its citizens, that's your church. Or he said, that's your church? Should read it with a question. Today is 1 year anniversary of having put that shitbag you thought was a good guy in jail. Damn, it really has. I don't even know. I'm like, damn, time flies. I did not realize it's been a year. You can't even say sorry to the Jane Does properly, huh? Your apology is worded as if you hired some PR crisis team to help you. As for you, Linkin Park, you should fire your entire team for not thoroughly vetting your choice. You're a Disney level band trying to make a comeback, and you didn't think to spend a little money on looking into her? Stop playing at the drive-ins music on your pre-show playlist. Ciao. And for those who don't know, Cedric was once upon a time part of At the Drive-In. So what the story was that Chester liked playing a lot of Cedric's music before they would go live because Cedric and Chester were close. They were really good friends. So he read his ass down voice. So yeah, I had to read y'all that so that way y'all understand. And that's why when I was telling you about the stuff about Bijou Phillips, I told you I did a deep dive and found out some stuff about her, that she is just as deplorable as her husband. And they were saying there's some tea about some essays regarding her too. So, but if nobody's coming forward about her, then we're not going to make that the focus. So now, because Cedric's wife, Christy Carnell Bixler, also came out and said that Masterson essayed her while they were in a relationship. And she testified against him. So now let's get into where it really gets juicy, which is Chester's son, Jaime, has come and spoken out in regards of Linkin Park. And child, now let me tell you, I did cackle when he said they're a Disney level band, because that's factual. We love Chester Bennington, but yeah, they act like they're like some Disney-fied rock band. And I do agree, like, okay, there's no excuse. Y'all all damn near pushing 50, except maybe this Emily chick, she's in her late 30s. But still, y'all been in this business long enough that y'all could do y'all homework and look into vetting whoever y'all gonna put him in. Because in this age of accountability culture, Me Too, time's up, y'all gotta come out the gate, especially. Y'all shouldn't only just be having like this one track mind, which is, oh, we got to try to get this girl, the fans interested in this girl, because people are still feeling a way about Chester passing away and the fact that you're bringing somebody new into this. You need to also not only look in the fact of getting over that hump, but making sure that whoever y'all pick as y'all lead singer don't have no kind of crazy back history ties into anything. So is it like you so engulfed in Hollywood that you don't realize how problematic Scientology is to a lot of people? So Jamie Bennington, who is the son of Chester, took to social media to share his thoughts on the reformation of Armstrong and criticized Shinoda for betraying Linkin Park fans with the decision. Now he went on his Instagram story because I guess if Miss Emily gonna sit out here and put out an apology in her Instagram stories, which we already know expires within 24 hours, so the story is BS. Her apology is bullshit. Because if you meant it, you would keep it up on the page. You wouldn't put it on something that expires within 24 hours. Because it's kind of like that old saying: if a tree falls in the forest and you don't hear it, does it make a sound? People don't probably even remember, people ain't gonna remember that she put out an apology. But thank God for social media, because in a screenshot, because shit like that will always exist. So he basically went down the pipeline, and as a class, let's go over it. So please hold as I scroll through. Where that's his father. So we have so it said disrespect me and I'll lose my respect in return. And this is him going after Mike Shinoda. Because Mike went and said many people will take time to wrap their heads around us with her if people are respectfully not there yet. I'm told. So he's like playing this whole thing of like people having a hard time coming to terms with Emily being a part of the group. So he's trying to water this whole situation down. Like, we having a hard time coming to terms that you got a girl who, I should also point out, identifies as a lesbian because she had a girlfriend for a long period of time. And she's a part of the LGBTQ community. And she ain't just giving you bulldog of teas with the outfit. She actually do eat the box. In case y'all didn't know that. So he went and posted the following, because let me scroll to that. He said people aren't having a difficult time wrapping their head around the prospect of Linkin Park reinventing itself. They are having a hard time wrapping their head around how you, number one, hired your friend of many years at Emily Armstrong to replace at Chester B, knowing Emily's history in the church and her history as an ally to at Danny Masterson is what it is. Number two, quietly erase my father's life and legacy in real time, not only during a band interview meant to clear the air about certain aspects of Linkin Park's history and future, but during International Suicide Prevention Month. Now, the funny thing is, we have so many damn month celebration things. I didn't even know this was Suicide Prevention Month. Maybe I forgot. So thanks for the reminder. He also went and said in purple circulation, I'd mention you, but you restricted my interactions with you because you don't like what I have to say. So this will have to do. But I think I was supposed to read that before I got to the other stuff. But whatever, we read it. It's good. Let's go on down the number line. Number three, have refused to acknowledge the impact of hiring someone like Emily without so much as a clarifying statement on the variety of victims that make up your core fan base. This is totally true. I think the reason why a lot of people relate to Linkin Park is because they relate to a lot of the stuff that Chester was going through. Chester is a victim of sexual assault, child sexual assault, and has spoken a lot about that and a lot of the demons that he was going through growing up into an adult. And a lot of people register with that. And for you to bring somebody in there who's against that and is a part of a church that's against that, you're basically pissing on his father's legacy. So it said no acknowledgement of the way you groom your fan base at Chester B, Chester's kids or family, my falling out with your wife, Anna Shinoda, who cannot be mentioned either, at Danny Masterson victims, or even Emily's intimidation of those victims. And the list goes on and on and on. And of course, it continues. Then he said, what you've done is not something for people to acclimate to. It's not a shock that people are just going to have to take time, process, and understand. You have betrayed the trust loaned to you by decades of fans and supporting human beings, including myself. We treated you to be the bigger, better person. Well, sorry, we trusted you to be the bigger, better person. To be the change because you promised us that was your intention. Now you're just senile and tone deaf. Insane. At this point, I would wager that all you LP guys know is disrespect. You didn't trick me. I heard you slip at the end of your Zane Lowe interview. Number two, this album has been in the works since at least 2019, possibly 2017, because he was basically trying to say that Mike Shinoda was trying to say they had just started working on this album, they recently started working on it like a couple of months ago. But they said, they've been working on this album since like 2017 or maybe 2019. And he slipped up in the interview. Like I said, I didn't get to watch the Zane Lowe interview, but if he caught it, I'm going to go with what he's saying. Because who wouldn't know his father better than the kid who was raised by Chester Bennington? And he says, I know your pattern. I saw what you did. Well, I don't feel like that's a lyric. So anyway, so it says, I know sometimes people make mistakes, misquote information, or remember it differently in the moment. And that Mike and Emily claim to have met in 2019, but still, it's interesting to me that Mike accidentally said he met Emily in 2017 before correcting himself. And it says, I'm trying to read this upside down. It says, I wonder which friend introduced the two of them. Oh, I'm good at reading, child. It could be, you could probably give me one of them little Rorschach situations. I could figure that out. I didn't think I could read that upside down. But anyway, look, my brain works in weird ways. So anyway, so they went on to say, this is my opinion. That's what it says on the side. I do not appreciate this comment made by Mike about disrespect. And I'm going to say as much. My perspective on the matter is that I've never seen the band allow for respect for resistance. I've never seen the band allow third-party perspective in the conversation. The pattern says that historically people who express alternative views to the mainstream narrative are marginalized and shut down. But that is a fact. That if you are someone who expresses alternative views and goes against the establishment and goes against the mainstream, you are marginalized, you are shut down. But then years later, it comes out as, a see, I told you so moment. And so he says, I do not support. And you want to know something? I'm with you, sir, because I don't support their ass either. After reading all this, after finding out about this girl, I don't support her ass either. So I will say this. I do agree with Jaime. Now, to wrap this up, I'm gonna just give my final thoughts on this. So now, Mike, in my opinion, I feel like after all of this and of the deep dives and digging in and watching all these Scientology videos that are breaking down like Emily and what the church is about and what they're all for, I feel like Mike, y'all need to get ahead of this. Linkin Park, your team, whatever, y'all need to get ahead of this. Y'all can't just put this on this girl to put out some 24-hour expiring non-apology apology on IG stories and think that's just enough. Because at this point, Mike is pissing on Chester's grave by hiring a singer who is a part of a cult that is against psychology or any form of professional mental health treatment. And I also cannot get behind someone who believes queer people are sick and evil, especially when I'm hearing she lives openly as a lesbian. And I also cannot support someone who's part of a made-up religion that does not believe in mental illness or depression, and also covers up sexual assault of children. So that's where I am on that. So I'm sure this story is not going to go anywhere anytime soon. I know it was a lot, but it was a lot to break down. So that way people get an idea of what is happening with this band and Scientology and their affiliations of what they're all about. These people are just evil. Like, you think, y'all want to talk about, I wonder who's worse, Scientologists or evangelicals? Y'all probably just as bad equally. Here's why I'd rather be spiritual and not religious, because y'all all have passed crazy in my damn opinion. So I will say all this to say, what do y'all think of this story? After hearing all of this, what do you feel Linkin Park needs to do to get ahead of this? Do you feel like, I mean, I don't know. I think it might be too late. From Zero already has this girl's vocals all over the album. The album is done. They're going to be promoting it. It comes out in 2 months. They're already got a tour kicking off tomorrow. So it's like, I don't know if you can ignore the big elephant in the room. Y'all can just go and act like business as usual, especially when all this stuff about Scientology is coming out. Now, if y'all want to support, that's fine. But let me know in the comments if you do, or if Scientology is like your final straw, especially when you hear all the things that they're about. The abuse of children, the way that they treat people that join the church and where they cast them off on, and, you know, all this other mess that goes on, especially like with Leah Remini and all the stuff that she's done with revealing things, and all the ex-Scientologists who made YouTube videos, who made documentaries, who written books, who have really exposed this church for the heinous things that they do. I also heard something or another that they don't want any Scientologists to run for public office, because this is why you ain't never seen nobody like Tom Cruise or anybody within Scientology run for any kind of public office, because you already know the minute one of them run for public office, you open up a Pandora's box for the media, anybody to come in and start digging into your stuff, and they don't want any kind of eyes or attention on the church, because if the stuff comes out that they up in there doing gets exposed, oh, it's going to be a domino effect of shit coming to tumble down. So I definitely want to hear your thoughts on this story. Let me know in the comments down